Alright, after I did my reviews for this weekend, I looked back on last week and realized that I had reviewed my current review for Batman vs. Robin and nothing else. So, I don't know how I could have forgotten that, but as a result, I'm going to be giving you an extra movie review for this weekend. So the film I'm going to be talking to you about tonight is a dark comedy called Filth. This movie follows a policeman named Bruce who's working on being promoted, and on his way to getting there, he starts manipulating the people around him. He starts screwing around with his coworkers to kind of push them out of the way, uh, so that they don't get promoted in his place. But as he's stepping on all of these people, uh, things kind of start to deteriorate, and they don't necessarily go the way that he'd planned. Now, James McAvoy plays the part of Bruce in this movie, and this has got to be the least likable character he's ever portrayed in a film, as far as I remember. Naturally, a guy who manipulates people to fuck up their chances of winning in his place, it kind of makes him a dick, but he is a really fun dick to watch, regardless. It is a really funny movie, and it's very stylized as well. Some of my favorite parts are when you get an insight into what what he's literally thinking about. Like early on in the film, one of my favorite scenes is where he's sitting in this room with his coworkers, and he's doing this voiceover narration where he's describing each person as he perceives them. And they could have just played a clip of, them doing something that would make him think of them in that way. But instead of doing that, they kind of go outside the realms of reality and show this very exaggerated version of who they are, at least as far as how he sees them. So that was a pretty cool scene. Um, but yeah, like I said, it is a funny movie, but I also said that it's a dark comedy, and that really comes into effect later on in the film. Like during the last 30 minutes, it becomes really depressing as Bruce's mental stability starts to deteriorate. And to my great surprise, I actually felt myself growing concerned for this guy. Um, yeah, I didn't think that that was gonna happen here in the case of this man whose goal in life is to just fuck up other people's lives as much as possible. But you start to realize that he's a very damaged person on the inside, and that he's not exactly well. And so it does eventually make him kind of a sympathetic character, again, very surprisingly so. um, and I mean, that would be my only complaint with the film, that it does become so dramatic towards the end. It is good storytelling. It's not like a lot of uh, poorly written comedies where it's just juvenile fart jokes and sex jokes, and then suddenly two characters are sitting down to have a real talk about life, and things start getting serious all of a sudden. um, it's not, as poorly written as that. Um, it does have a pretty good effect on you. It just, I don't know. It's just not the kind of storytelling that meshes um, completely with the type of story that it had been telling previously. It does, however, come back around at the very end, like right before this credits. There's this moment that kind of catches you off guard, and I was just sitting there thinking, what the hell was that about? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it was strangely appropriate for the movie, And it's even an ending that could be considered open to interpretation in some ways when you think about everything that had been going on before. So, in the end, Filth is definitely a very interesting movie. It is one that um, I'm likely to be rewatching in the future. If it sounds like your kind of movie, or if you're into seeing a very unusual sort of comedy, then it does come recommended. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about Filth. I hope you all have a good one.